Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, distinguished guests, and folks of all stripes, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast, your Houston sports podcast for diehard Houston sports fans from a diehard Houston sports fan. I'm Paul Salazar Jr., your favorite diehard Houston sports fan podcaster. I am a home cook, a home buddy, and a home E. I am a Houston native, and I have the receipts to prove it. I went to Oilers games in the Astrodome. That's right. I'm old. I've spent the last decade or so as a comedy writer out here in Los Angeles, and now I'm podcasting. That's right, folks. Welcome to said podcast. This is the Space Cadet Sports Podcast that was born out of my Substack, the Space Cadet Sports blog that was started as a Houston Astros blog, but this season we are venturing out into the other major three sports. We're going to do some football, we're going to do some basketball this season. So we are here for the first official Houston Texans podcast on the Space Cadet Sports Network, I guess. Yeah, you can call it here. The Paul Broad Pod Ball blog is growing. Here we definitely started this podcast and blog to kind of have a safe space for Houston Astros fans. A place where, we don't report on sports as doom and gloom. We also try not to be haters. We try to be a little bit reasonable here, but the key word is try. Emotions always come out in sports, folks. This is a Space Cadet Sports Podcast. We're recording here in sunny Los Angeles. I am joined by my co-host and co-producer, as always, the Roz to my Frasier. Carla, the dog, is here. Those of you know, last episode she got on mic. She definitely had a lot to say. From time to time, she may get on mic. Today, we are going to talk about the Houston Texans Week 1. We're going to kind of briefly talk about the Houston Texans. We are also going to have some fun here today with Paul's Pick'ems. That's right. We are going to start a weekly segment here in the podcast dedicated not just to Texans and football, but since I'm playing fantasy football and am in a Pick'em league and I'm generally now watching and picking games, I thought it'd be fun to see, how I actually do. That's right. I'm posting the receipts. What bravery, please don't make too big of a hero out of me. You don't have to construct a statue, maybe it is Venmo me something, that's fine. But, we're going to look at the upcoming weekly schedule. We're going to look at my picks and, maybe look at the lines a little bit here. This is as of Wednesday the 4th. Let's dive into Week 1, kinfolk. All right. Thursday night football this week. Tomorrow, we have football happening tomorrow, sports fans. I am a huge baseball fan. That is always and forever going to be my number one. However, let's be realistic. In America, and especially in Texas, football is king. I would not be doing this episode or this podcast if there wasn't some people that, if there wasn't an audience for it. So obviously, this is big. We have football right around the corner. Are you ready for some football? Thursday night football is Ravens at Chiefs. It's a -3 for the Chiefs there with the over/under 46.5. This is a big time matchup. We are very excited to have this game as our week one intro to football here. Just really whetting our appetite for all the fireworks of football this season. I really don't see. I really just see. I guess I just have to go with the talk here. The Chiefs just doing Chief things at home. They have been the Chiefs for so long. In week 1, you're just expecting them to show up at home. So I'm definitely going with the Chiefs there. No disrespect to the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to have a great season. I think the Ravens are a good team, to a great team even. I'm not. I just think at home, I'm going with the Chiefs here. Then Friday night, the Packers versus the Eagles. Eagles, the spread is -2.5 for the Eagles there. So Packers being the underdogs here. This game will be in Brazil. Hopefully there will be some offensive fireworks in Brazil. The over under is at 48.5 here. I really trust the Eagles more, and so do the Sharps. So I'm going with the Eagles here. I think obviously it's pretty close there, but I think if I'm just having to choose I'm going with who I trust more, and in this situation, I'm going with the Eagles here. I do think the Packers are potentially going to be a great team this season, and the Eagles definitely, they have some question marks as well, but I think just if I had to pick them, which I am, I'm going with the Eagles here. Then we're getting on to our Sunday games here, that the Packers and Eagles Friday night. On to Sunday, our regularly scheduled football day, football fans. We have the Steelers at Eagles. I'm sorry about that. Steelers at Falcons. Falcons are favored 3.5. I think Russell Wilson as a Steeler is kind of, I get it. It's tough when, I really think it's been a tough run for Russell Wilson lately, but I just don't know either one of these teams that well, if I'm just being completely honest. And that's not me trying to be like, oh, I'm completely lazy, I don't care. I just am saying, I don't know them. I don't know you. I really don't trust either one of these teams too strongly here either. So I'm kind of just punting. I'm going with the Falcons here, but I'm really unsure of this game. This is one of the biggest question marks for me. I think the outcome of this game and looking at what happens here will help me get a feel for what these two teams are right now. I'm just unsure, and when I'm saying I don't trust them, I don't mean like I don't think they'll be good teams. I just don't trust that I understand what the performance is going to be here. Then we're gonna go on to Cardinals at Bills. The Bills are favored heavily here at 6.5. Over under here for the offense is going to be 48. The Cards at Bills, just it's a no-brainer for me. This is going to be Bills for sure. I think the Cardinals. The Cardinals have always been like one of those fantasy football offenses for me. They have not been doing too great as of late. But the Bills have just been so dominant. The Bills are at home. You just feel like this is a gimme. I'm going the Bills here. Moving on, Titans at Bears. Bears are favored at 4 here, -4, with an over under of 45 points here. I don't like the Titans. Let's just be honest about it. There is beef between Tennessee Titans fans and Texans fans. There's beef between the owners and organizations. It's just there's not a lot of love back and forth. And I don't like them, of course. I'm making those jokes, but also I don't like them in the sense of trusting them as a team. I think the Bears could be fun, so we're gonna go with the Bears here. Especially my little bear Carla. One of her nicknames is Bear, so we're going with the Bears. The Titans kind of might be a sneaky underdog here. It feels like a thing that would be a thing that works out against me because I don't like them. So in a way, I'm kind of betting on them right now to be to kind of be like sneaky underdogs, and maybe that's just me trying to cover my bases. Either way, I'm just saying, while I don't like them, I really don't. It's not like I have very solid beliefs about who the Bears are going to be either. I could see a world in which the Titans come out and just punch the Bears in the mouth just to make me mad. Moving on, it's still the Bears though. That is my pick officially. Moving on to the Patriots at Bengals. The Bengals definitely favored here at 7.5. They also, the over under is 40.5. So I think those are all the points that they expect the Bengals to score. The Bengals and Joe Burrow are going to put on a show against the rookie coach at the helm of the Pats. I mean, I think this is another gimme. I think you just go Bengals here and don't think about it. That's what most of us are doing. So that's exactly what I'm doing as well. We're looking at Texans at Colts next, with the Texans, the underdogs at plus 2.5. The over under, Colts underdogs at plus 2.5, just in case I misspoke there. With the over under at 48.5. I really believe in this Texans team. I believe in them so much. I'm even podcasting about them. The Texans and I have had a really love-hate relationship. We don't need to get into it at this point. I feel like this is supposed to be optimistic. We're supposed to be feeling good about the NFL season starting. So we'll just put it simply: the Texans and I have had a very love-hate relationship in their short existence. But I'm hoping that this will be a dawn of a new era of Texans football, where we put the past in the past and start winning. I'm picking the Texans here to win. I'm even thinking they win decisively. So I like that line of 2.5. I think that they can cover there. But I'm no expert. This is just what I'm thinking. Just to be clear, folks, I already admitted that, in my bio there, I said I was a home cook. I said I was a comedy writer. Just remember who's talking right now. This is, we're doing this for comedy's sake, to see how good or bad I may be. So just take everything I say here. If I say something's a good bet, remember, take that with a grain of salt. This is comedy, folks. Who knows? Maybe it'll be good comic advice, but we'll see. Texans for sure here. Moving on to the Jags at Jaguars. Jags at Jaguars. My reading skills are not going well today, are not doing well today. My speaking skills aren't doing well either. Jaguars at Dolphins. We have Dolphins favored by 3.5. The over-under is 49. It makes it the second highest projected scoring game of the week there with that over-under. So this offensive showcase should be fun. I'm going with the home team here, with the Dolphins, to get the edge. I think they're just such a fast team. They're such a fun team. I like the Dolphins. I kind of believe that they can, maybe they're not the best team, but they definitely can win some games and can flex their offensive firepower. I think that they have enough to outlast the Jaguars, especially at home. And, maybe it's just a divisional thing, but I just obviously I don't like the Jags as much as the Miami Dolphins. But, I'm going for the Dolphins here in week 1. Then we're moving on to Panthers at Saints. The Saints are favored at -4 with a 41.5 over under. The Panthers might be better than I remember, and the Saints might be a little worse than I remember. But I think I'm going with the Saints at home. I think that's the way to go here. I feel. I guess the way I feel about this is like I'm wondering if this is just like old memories tainting this here. I feel so confident about the Saints here, but I don't know why I'm like, should I be feeling this confident? And I guess because I'm overthinking it. I'm trying to figure out what there is about the Panthers that I'm neglecting to remember. I definitely did a little Panther research and deep dive on them just to continue to be like, no, still Saints. But we will see. Well, week 1 is always going to be a lot of fun because you think you know what certain teams are going to be. Some teams are exactly who we thought they were, and other teams are complete surprises, or in a good way. And sometimes you're like, who thought that they were going to be good? This team is obviously bad. So we're in for a lot of fun here. But it is hard sometimes in this first week. I know all of you who do pick'ems out there, all of you who probably, if you're doing any betting and stuff, I'm sure first week you're full of nerves. You're wringing your hands. You're trying to figure out, what is this from last season? Is this from a couple seasons ago? Am I sure about this? Who knows? Maybe y'all are confident. Maybe you're a lot more confident than me. Moving on. Vikings at Giants. The Giants are the underdogs here, plus 1.5. The over/under being 41. Really a shrug of a line and a big shrug from me too. Could both teams end up losing this game? I'm looking into that. That's what I'm really doing my research on. Is it possible for both teams to lose? But because my homie is a Giants fan, I'm going to go with the Giants. And if I'm wrong, I'll curse him and Rick Moranis. I don't trust either one of these teams in the sense of I'm not sure if they're going to be that good, but also, I'm not sure if I trust my appraisal of them either. It's not like these two teams are on the forefront of my reading and watching. So we will see here. Raiders at Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 3. The over/under is 40.5. Sadly, I never feel sure about the Raiders. Well, sadly for Raiders fans and the Raiders organization, probably, I don't know if anybody's felt that sure about them since John Madden left. I don't know. John Gruden had some good years. I'm obviously being silly, but I'm just saying that it seems sometimes like a haunted franchise. For that purpose, I'm going with the Chargers, which is ridiculous because that's a haunted franchise in and of itself as well. I have to go with the Chargers. I guess I'm going with the Chargers is what I'm saying, and we're going with the Chargers. Broncos at Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 6. Over under is 42. It's like either I don't, maybe I need to do a little bit. I mean, I don't feel good about the Broncos, obviously, but it's like the Seahawks are definitely mightily flavored. Sounds delicious. No, they are mightily favored here, and nothing I see makes me think otherwise. So obviously, just going with the Seahawks. I don't feel good about the Broncos. We'll see, but also it's like favoring the Seahawks that much makes me wonder what I need to do a little bit more reading on the Seahawks or the Broncos there. Then we have the Cowboys at Browns. Browns are favored at -2.5. The over/under is 41, and I hate to say it. I truly do, but I think the upset of the week is going to the Cowboys? Question mark? Picking against the odds week 1 is not ever, very fun, especially in this close of a spread. But I just don't like the Browns. I don't think I feel like the Cowboys can sneak away with this and actually win it. And the fact that I think that feels icky and gross as a Houstonian to pick the Cowboys, but that's what we're doing here. I'm sorry, but we gotta go. We're trying to collect W's here, folks. We're not trying to catch L's. So I'm going with what I'm feeling here. Commanders at Bucks is the next game. The Buccaneers are favored by 3. The over/under is 43.5. I have no logical reason for not trusting the Commanders besides the fact that just kind of like the Raiders, they're a haunted franchise. I sometimes your week 1 picks are all gut. This has no brain or stats or delving into the depth charts or listening to pundits. I'm going with the Buccaneers because that's just what my gut's telling me. We'll see how good my gut is. Maybe I have a GI problem. I have some bacterial issues. Maybe I need a probiotic or a prebiotic. We will see. We'll see the status of my gut next week. Rams at Lions. Lions are favored here, 3.5. The over/under is 51. I really think the Lions are going to impress, not only on the season, but in this game. I think we're all kind of feeling it a bit. Probably not Rams fans, of course, but I feel like the majority of us are feeling the Rams, betting against the Rams, feeling the Lions, I should say. Betting against the Rams here feels kind of weird, honestly. I feel like in the past, you see this game easily give it to the Rams in previous seasons, but now I am following the narrative. I bought it hook, line, and sinker. I am going with the Lions. My partner Sarah, her family's from Michigan. There's a lot of Michiganders and Detroiters and Lions fans that I interact with, so I'm going with them too. We're riding that Lion wave. We're going with the Lions here. Moving on to Monday, the Monday Night Football, Jets at 49ers. 49ers favored by 4 points here with a 44 over under there. Shout out Akers Holmes there. And, sorry, Jets fans, but this is a no-brainer for me. This is 49ers, no doubt for me. Pretty hilarious after, now that we're done with all the games there. It's pretty hilarious to me that the underdogs of the week in my book are the Titans. But I'm not picking them, so that means I guess, yeah, I'm going with underdogs of the week for Titans. I'm picking the Cowboys. Something's weird. I don't like this, but I guess this positivity, how good I'm feeling about the Texans, that hate and misery just washes away, and I'm going with logic instead of with emotion. So maybe that's just what that is. But I do think it's hilarious. My underdog of the week is the Titans. I am picking the win. I think the pick to win, the safest bet here, is Bengals over Pats. I think that's going to be your safest bet of the week if we're just picking outright to win. But the 7.5 spread is high, but isn't too scary there. But week 1 is so wild. I think because I'm saying, we are doing this, we are having fun. I don't want to, get into saying this is 100% bet on this or anything like that. But we're goofing here. If there is any kind of segment, or if you want me to talk about any other type of fantasy or type of sport like that, or daily pick'em type thing, or props bet, definitely hit me up. I'd be willing to talk about some other stuff as well. But as a reminder, dear listeners, with that being said, I just wanted to say that gambling is serious, and while we like to have fun on our podcast and joke around, please gamble responsibly. If you have a gambling problem, please reach out for help. Reaching out for help is a brave step, no matter what you're doing in your life. So if you do find yourself in a situation or feel like you have a problem with anything, but specifically gambling, since we're talking about it, remember that bravery is taking that first step for help, and you are capable of it. With that PSA, the more you know. I'm out here for the children. I've always said it. We're trying to bring good vibes here. But that being said, we are going to move on to the next segment, get away from my degenerate gambling ways, and move on to more football talk here, folks. The Texans have signed backup quarterback Davis Mills to a 1-year, $5 million extension to be C.J. Stroud's backup. This is a big move for the Texans, kind of getting that safety net there for C.J. Obviously we do not want or expect any kind of health concerns or injury issues, but we know what Davis Mills can contribute to this team. We know that he can hold down the fort. Obviously, with Case Keenum injured for the season, and with Case Keenum's age, kind of that quarterback depth is not quite as strong as it used to be. So the Texans are kind of just doubling down here to make sure that they have somebody they feel good about on the bench and ready to go just in case. They're putting a visor on Davis Mills, putting him behind glass, and just putting that little, break in case of emergency on Davis Mills. I love it. I think it's good. I think that's a big move for the Houston Texans, and will hopefully contribute to make sure that our floor doesn't fall too low, just in case something happens. The Houston Texans truly are going into this season with something that I have not experienced since following the Texans: playoff hopes. This team is highly rated in the power rankings. Pundits like them. Bill Simmons picked them to go to the Super Bowl. Bill Simmons said, Really, I think it's going to be the Detroit Lions. I think it's going to be Houston Texans. That was I never tried to do a Bill Simmons impression. It really sounded like a cousin Sal Bill Simmons impression. But hey, that's where we are. I should have workshopped it before just doing it in just the moment there. But that is high praise. I do not know if I feel that strongly about them to pick them to go all the way to the Super Bowl, but obviously I feel really good about them. I feel we'll get to my projections exactly for them, but by the end of the podcast. But this team has swag. This team has an effective and popular head coach in D'Amico Ryans. They have a quarterback that inspires hope from his team and the city. They have a defensive philosophy that tracks with what the team has attempted to do with the defensive culture since its first season. It actually feels good for once, and the days of scandal, the days of losing, the growing pains, seem to be finally behind us. Only 20 years to get here, but I can't say anything. I was at 20 years old, I was not a fully formed person. I don't even know if I am now. I at 20 I might have been a monster. But obviously joking. I've always strived to be good. I'm just trying to be like I was selfish, like most young people, and needed some maturing. Obviously, I still need some maturing. I still do. I'll never not find fart jokes not funny. I mean, what was wow? That was like a triple negative swoosh. We this week one game. Let's kind of move on here as I'm getting into triple negatives. Let's keep the keep the train moving before I get too far off into tangent land. This isn't an off day goof off, folks. We are prepping to go into Indy. Well, as a team, I'm not. The Houston Texans are, just to be clear. I try not, I try really hard not to use we. Please forgive me as I am breaking myself of this habit. But the Houston Texans are prepping to go into Indy and do something that the Texans are just finally starting to figure out, and that's winning and in Indianapolis. I feel really good about it. I feel very confident, but winning will definitely help beat these allegations. One of the biggest factors of the game, I truly think, will be if Will Anderson is ready for week one. There has been no solid news one way or the other, but being on the injured list today, or not being on the injured list today for Wednesday's practice, is hopefully a positive sign. So that was really good when they released the injured list today. He was not on it. The only name on it was did not practice was backup safety MJ Stewart for a knee injury. Besides that, there was nobody else on it. However, just as a reminder, Danico Autry is out for the game against Indianapolis. This was also stated on the injury report after a failed PED screen. So there will be no Autry, who is a new addition to the defensive front seven. So there will be a little a little bit of a lack of power from his position, as the Texans prefer him to be starting. Truly, I can't wait to see what C.J. Stroud and all of these talented receivers give us on offense. Joe Mixon and the zone running scheme, I'm hoping will give us enough to keep the opposing defense guessing. And, I'm deeply hoping that Dameon Pierce can figure out the zone blocking system to be an effective piece on the squad. Tank Dell, who I heard it's reported that he is legally changing his name. So Mr. Tank Dell there might be getting most of the love. We love all of the receivers on the team here at Space Cadet Sports, but we are truly hoping for some John Mechie love and magic this year, as he is such a great story. It would be great to see him go out there and have a career year to really make a difference on this team. You're really rooting for the ball to be spread around to all of the receivers, on the team, but John Mechie has a special place in most of our hearts, so we're definitely rooting for him. On the defensive side, this team is going to play tough, and we're hoping head coach D'Amico Ryans' thumbprint not only keeps them tough and scary, but effective at winning games. Once the front seven is all available, they will truly strike fear into the O-lines. Will Anderson and Aziz Al-Shire, or Al-Shire? Oh, man. I wrote it down. Al-Shire. Now I can't read my own handwriting. I'm sorry, Mr. Aziz. Please, I am working on my pronunciation guides as well. Obviously, I need to work on my penmanship. But those linebacker all stars or stars will be a huge part of the Texans' success this season. And of course, there's Derek Stingley Jr., whose ceiling has been talked about all off season. This young corner is expected to have a showcase of a season if he can remain healthy. If healthy, this defense is looking to be stingy and solid. I love it. You want the Texans, the Texans' philosophy, or what they've been trying to do as a team since its inception, has been to play tough defense and to matriculate the ball down the field, get those first downs. This offense has a lot more firepower and deep game ability than other offenses in the Houston Texans past. This is not the Matt Schaub offense of doing some play actions, running a bootleg, kind of picking up those first downs. But if getting the first down and moving the ball is super important, no matter the speed you're doing at. The game is definitely a lot speedier and spread out more than it was in those days. But, I'm just saying they're kind of finding those, remnants of old philosophies and running this team in a kind of historic way, the way that this team has wanted to have its philosophies executed. When I was looking at the, I believe, the over-under on this, I'm getting this from MGM, the over-under here is 9.5 wins for the Houston Texans on this season. And I feel like I'm going over. I'm not even thinking about it or pondering it too long. I might be bullish on them, but I seriously am wondering if I should just go place that bet right now. It's pretty ambitious, but I'm feeling like they win the division with 10 wins. My gut says 11, but my head keeps looking at the schedule, doing math and wording. So 10 it is. I feel confident about 10 wins. I feel like it's 11, but like 10 is where I'm confident. So I'm going with that. I'm going with that over a 100%. Book it. Bookmark it. This is where I'm saying it. The Houston Texans get 10 wins. They win the AFC South. They get to the playoffs. And, depending on the matchups, depending on their health, they might be able to make some noise. I really am feeling great and bullish about the Texans this season. All right, for Week 1, Sunday's game is at Indianapolis at noon Central Standard Time on CBS, Paramount Plus, NFL Plus, YouTube with the subscriptions, or you can sail the 7 seas of streaming somewhere shady. Obviously, I'm going with the Texans in the opener. No surprise. It's what I've been talking about all episode. No big surprise. Texans win it on Sunday. Bookmark it. I'm saying it, folks. Thank you so much for listening to this Week 1 Houston Texans preview. I very much appreciate you sticking with us at Space Cadet Sports for the Houston Astros season, and now we are ramping up the Houston Texans season. We can start getting into football as well. Please like, rate, review, subscribe, share this podcast, all those buttons, click, punch, smash, all of those buttons for me. We are a small podcast and we only go as far as y'all take me. So please, if you got to this part of the podcast, I feel like you like me enough, help me out by doing one of those things for me. Or if you'd be so kind, maybe go check out the Substack at spacecadetsports.substack.com. If you prefer that, put your email into that field there on the website. You get every post, every podcast, every meme dump and article emailed to you directly, or you can use the app if you're a mobile guy like me. You download the Substack app on your phone, search Space Cadet Sports and subscribe through there, and you just click that little box and you say you want notifications. You no longer get emails, you get notifications for every post, every article, every meme dump, every podcast and occasional video podcast that we are going to do this season. Let me know what you're thinking. If you disagree with my over-under there, if you disagree with my 10 wins for the Texans, if you just want to talk some football with me or some of the opinions, please let me know. Reach out on social media at Paul Salazar JR on all social media platforms, and I'll do my best to respond. I'm active, at least on all the cool ones. Or you can now call into the podcast like a call-in radio show. If you want to be on the podcast and you have something you want to tell me, reach out at speakpipe.com/Space Cadet Sports. That is speakpipe.com/Space Cadet Sports. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you're just here for Carla the dog and you want some Carla pictures, you can check out her Instagram at good.dog.carla. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Remember to be the best that you can be. Keep your head up, kid. And as always, vamos Texans.